the longest lived people, what they have that we don't have is that they actually have specific routines that they incorporate into their daily life that, whether they realize it or not, decreases their overall stress. Yassas, if you can't tell from my greeting, we are still in Greece. Welcome back to Circee Health Pod. If you've already forgotten me because I've been away for so long, my name is Dr. Ajoy Prabhu, and I'm here with
Ajoy, and we are in Greece right now, and I'll let Dr. Jenny continue with the immediate surrounding environment and what has inspired us for this talk today. But before I do that, I just want to let the listeners know that henceforth, wherever we are traveling and doing these episodes, I will try to put some representative images of where we are so that you get an idea about the location. And if there are any discussions that center around people or situations, we'll try to put those images also. So feel free to go to our website and look them up. It's basically www.circeehealth.com/podcast. And if you go to an episode, you should be able to see the representative images for that particular podcast. Anyway, let's begin.
Yeah, if you remember from our last podcast, we were talking with our good friend Kiki about her take on the Mediterranean lifestyle. And we decided, we've been immersed in it for so long now, for almost 2 weeks, that we wanted to continue and share more inspiration from our journey, literally our journey the last couple weeks. So we decided to do a part 2. Actually, yesterday we moved from our hotel in kind of a touristy but beautiful area of Athens to a more, local area.
And you can hear the birds here.
I don't know if you can hear in the background, there's some doves calling, which is a nice thing to wake up to. It's very quiet. I was woken up by some cats outside the window this morning, actually. The place we're staying in is called Koukaki, which I'm probably butchering the name. It's Koukaaki. We noticed last night, and we were inspired to do this podcast actually just walking back.
Yeah.
It was 11:30 at night. Children were still out with their families. People were eating outside, laughing, hugging. It just is really inspiring to be here. So that's why we want to share some more of our inspiration with you guys.
So today's topic is about the very essence of what our friend Kiki talked to us about, which is a healthy Mediterranean lifestyle. She concentrated only on the Mediterranean lifestyle. In this talk today, in this episode, we will talk about all the other zones in this world where people live on an average. Once they go above 70 or 80, their average lifespan goes up to, their lifespan goes up to over 100. The average person living in some of these areas is clocked at 85 years, and that too absolutely healthy. It's not like they are in hospital beds and they're at 85. They are actually walking around and having a nice time with their friends and so on at 85.
And we've seen people here, like in the flesh, that we can tell must be in their later years, and they're walking around looking healthy, smiling, always with a group of other people.
Yeah, and that reminds me, because of the fact that we will be telling you more about the blue zones, it's going to be a little bit of a long episode, so therefore we're going to divide it into
2. Imagine that, us talking for more than planned.
Yes.
And Ajoy just mentioned the blue zones, but he's always referring to the blue zones. But I don't think everyone knows what they are.
Okay, fine.
Including myself, I wanted to brush up on what exactly the blue zones were. So just to tell you guys what exactly we mean when we say that, Ajoy already kind of touched on it, but it's basically, as of now, the 5 areas in the world that have the world's healthiest and longest living humans. And also the highest proportions of people who reach over the age of 100.
Yeah. Do you want to name those 5 regions?
Why, sure. So,
okay. Do you want me to do it?
I think the first one was Sardinia.
Yeah.
Which is part of Italy. And that's a particular region of Sardinia. called the Barbagia region.
I didn't know that.
So that has the world's highest concentration of male centenarians, or male humans above the age of 100. Second one is, of course, Ikaria, Greece, which has the lowest rates of dementia in the world. Dementia is otherwise known as Alzheimer's or memory loss. Third area is in Costa Rica, which is one of our favorite places in the world. This is particularly the Nicoya Peninsula, Costa Rica. Has the world's lowest rate of middle-age mortality and the second highest concentration of male centenarians.
Yeah.
The fourth one is Okinawa, Japan, which I think is Ajoy's favorite and the one he refers to the most. My favorite part about Okinawa, Japan is they eat the largest percentage of sweet potatoes in the world. In fact, I think it's over 60%
almost
of
70%.
their diet is only sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
And in Japan, it's women power. Females over 70 are the longest lived population in the world in Okinawa, Japan. And then finally, the fifth blue zone is the Seventh-day Adventist religion that lives in Loma Linda, California. They actually live 10 years or more longer than their North American counterparts.
The unique thing about these, when people study that, especially, people like Dan Buettner and Michael Pollan studied these areas, they discovered that there are some common characteristics among them.
Yeah.
And let's just go through some of the common characteristics so you have an understanding of what is it that makes people live long and healthily long. People always say, oh, why do I need to live long? It's okay, I've done my duties and blah, blah, blah. But the point is, these guys are not living healthy. These guys are not just living. They're actually thriving. They're actually having fun. They're, playing board games. They're playing dominoes till wee hours in the morning, drinking coffee with their buddies, or, gossiping older ladies gossiping. Okay, and men. Fine. And no sickness. They just walk around and go back to their homes and, and so on. So I think we should define what are some of these features that make them so unique. And so in part one, we will discuss that, right? And then part two, we'll talk about actual experiences of ours where we saw these things in action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to start?
Not just in Greece. We can actually touch on some other.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So, number one, and remember, these are characteristics of the world's longest and healthiest lived people. So these are things that we hope you guys will try to strive for. So number one is move naturally, meaning, these people aren't sitting out, on their exercise bike, training for a marathon, lifting weights and saying, okay, I need to get in my 30 minutes of exercise on my Apple Watch every day and then I'm good to go. Check. No, they're actually moving because it's part of their daily routine. So they're gardening, or they're going upstairs, walking up a hill to their neighbor's place, walking down the hill, or climbing up some rocks to get to their temple or church or place of worship. They're cleaning their houses, dusting, that sort of thing. So they're moving without a particular purpose, but they're moving constantly.
No, there is a purpose, but very much.
Well, yes. Not for the purpose of exercise only. I'm sorry.
So can I add something to that?
Yes, sure.
And,
why not?
And that is, I have been always saying this. In fact, we say this to our patients all the time, right? What I call, what they said, move naturally. I call them micro exercises. Meaning, you're sitting at home and you're feeling thirsty. You're like, oh, I need to get a glass of water. You don't have to call your servant or your child or your dog to bring you a glass of water.
My dog would bring a glass of water to me. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I know. I wish my child would bring a glass of water to me. No, actually, I don't. I don't wish that, because when they need water, they get up and go get water themselves. Yeah. When we need water, or when we need, whatever we need, we actually get up from wherever we are and go get it. It's such a simple act, right? And if you just keep that in mind all the time, that you should not be sitting in a place for more than half an hour. We practice it diligently. We'll talk about some of the tips later on, but the point is that these micro exercises really help.
Yeah, and I just made fun of the Apple Watch about saying about exercise, but actually, these smartwatches do have a great reminder, which is the one that tells you to get up and move or get up and stand. I think that's one modern technology that has been helpful because, just like Ajoy said, if you're sitting in one place for a long time, I think that actually shortens your lifespan. So getting up and moving, even if a device has to remind you, is a good thing.
So recently I realized that it was not some kind of a self-realization or some, big awakening for me or something like that. It just realized that when I get into work, I realize that for hours at a time I'm concentrating on something, and suddenly it's like 2 hours have passed by and I've not drunk water, I've not stood up from my chair. So I decided to just abandon the chair entirely and create a standing desk for myself. I just threw a plank of wood on some tall legs, I guess, and created a standing desk, which I'm loving it now.
And that was some micro exercise you did by building the desk yourself.
Yes, that's true too. I just built the desk myself instead of buying something ready-made from the shop.
So moving on to number 2, which is your favorite.
Yes, that is one of the things that I really liked. The second one is really one of my favorites, and it's a Japanese phrase called ikigai, and I'm sure you've seen these books being hawked on the signals in Mumbai, for example, or any major city in the world. I'm sure you'll find these guys hawking these books that talks about the ikigai. Ikigai really means a sense of purpose, or the way I look at it, literally the reason for you to wake up in the morning ready to tackle your job. And my boss, when I was working for NIH, she used to say that she just jumps out of bed because she has 2-3 ideas in mind that she wants to implement that day, or start implementing some projects. And I used to be a little fascinated by the fact that this lady, she's 65 and she's like jumping out of bed to work on these things. And I'm doing the same thing now. I suddenly realized that there are so many things that I can work on, and it's exciting for me because there is a sense of purpose. I feel that hopefully I can help somebody get in better health, and that's what my purpose in life seems to be. Like I really feel like I want to be healthy, and I want to teach others how to be healthy. So ikigai, or a sense of purpose, or the reason for you to wake up in the morning to do things, is very important in life. So try to think about yourself and see what is it that makes you tick. Maybe it is some hobby that you want to take up as a job, full-time profession, or maybe it's just family life, and you say, you know what, I love to cook for my family, and I want to be the best housewife or house husband.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, so I had to add that.
I'm just going to butt in and say I think of a lot of times I think of people we know as examples. So both my maternal grandparents lived until their 90s. And my grandmother, even though she had was partially blind and had trouble getting around due to some minor health problems, every morning she would get up and have her cup of black coffee, which I learned from a young age is the best way to drink it. She would call one of her family members, have a nice discussion. She would do her knitting, which she didn't necessarily need to see, but she could feel. But she had a purpose in her, even in her 90s in her life. And then my grandfather, her husband, also until almost the very end of his life was still baking, which is one of his passions, was still birding, meaning going bird watching, was still taking care of his plants, that sort of thing. So each of them had a purpose up until the very end, and I think that helped them.
Yeah. So you want to take on the next one?
So the next one is something I need to do.
I knew it. That's why I said you should take the next one.
That's why it was assigned to me. So trying to decrease stress in your life, which is probably one of my biggest Achilles heels, unfortunately. Stress itself, and so they mention about the blue zones people. Of course,
this is like the fox guarding the hen house.
Yes. even people in the blue zones, of course, everyone experiences stress at some point in their life, but you basically need to learn how to decrease it, how to deal with it, and how to make it not the focal point of your life. They found in the Blue Zone studies that the longest lived people, what they have that we don't have is that they actually have specific routines that they incorporate into their daily life that, whether they realize it or not, decreases their overall stress. So, for example, this is something that Ajoy and I always argue about, a nap. I hate naps. I don't know why. I really don't have a great explanation for it. I feel like I should be doing something. But I'm trying desperately. Like yesterday we took a nap, and in fact, we've probably taken more naps on this trip than I've taken in my entire life.
Yes.
And maybe it's just being close to the Icarian and Blue Zone that has inspired me. But anyway, that the Icarians specifically take naps, and that they believe is one of the reasons why people in Icaria live so long. So what Sardinians do is more up my alley. They have a happy hour every day with their delicious, strong Sardinian red wine.
Can I interrupt for this nap part? I don't want this nap thing to turn into like a 2-hour afternoon siesta after lunch. And I think I've said this before, and we will tend to repeat things that we feel are very important for people to imbibe. And that is, yes, napping is great, but napping should not exceed more than, maybe at the most an hour. It should not, and especially after meals. You should not nap immediately after meals.
You need to digest it.
You should need to digest it. So we took a nap. So for example, we ate our lunch at about 12 o'clock, and we walked around the city till about 2:30 or so. So 2.5 hours we walked around. We looked at all kinds of sites and all. We came back kind of a little bit exhausted because it was hot sun, and we took a nap. Took a nap for an hour. We woke up and we were refreshed, and we had a cup of coffee and then set out again. So sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, so napping, and then of course the happy hour with the Sardinians, has a dual purpose of having that red wine that is so good for you, and socializing with.
What if people don't drink then?
Then have some grape juice.
Or
just drink water.
Or not drink. You don't have to. You don't have to actually. Yes, exactly. That's where I was going with it, because the part of the drinking wine is not really as much about the drinking wine. Although Dr. Jenny would like to. Yes.
I keep telling myself that. And then finally, moving on, the third recognized way that of stress reduction is the Okinawans, the Japanese, take a few moments every day to remember their ancestors. So they reflect on good memories and life lessons that their ancestors have taught them, and they try to incorporate that into their daily life. So, and that's very stress relieving for them.
Yeah, and in our case, we don't do it in the afternoon or something, but once a day at least. The four of us, no matter, if we are in the same house, we always pray.
So moving on to the fourth one, which is another Blue Zone rule that you taught me even before I think we knew that it was a Blue Zone thing, and something that me, no offense to Americans, growing up as American, had never even heard of or thought of,
or imagined
in his or her wildest dreams is.
I had heard, or maybe I'd read a book by Mahatma Gandhi, where he said, you should keep some part of your stomach empty, just so that you are more alert, and also it will provide for somebody else's well-being.
This is when eating a meal.
When eating a meal, try to keep a little part of your stomach empty. Don't fill it up completely.
AKA the 80% rule.
Yeah, it's called the 80% rule, meaning, fill your stomach up to 80%. Now, you don't have a measuring cylinders there, but the point is that, don't eat till you're absolutely full and you can barely move. You should eat only till, you are happy about, the delicious meal that you had. And I used to say this is long time ago when I was a teenager, that, I would eat and I could still run and not have a stomach ache. Now, of course, at my age now, if I eat even 20%, there is no way I can run. Absolutely no way. So
you're just used to fast exercising, thanks to me, but that's a whole other podcast.
Yes. Okay. Let's move on to the next one.
All right, so I get to talk about this, my favorite, which is, I guess, both of our favorites, but
More yours than mine.
yeah, so eating more plants, which I think we probably say in every podcast, and we'll continue to say it in every podcast. So actually, I mentioned about the sweet potatoes with the Okinawans, but they made there's pie charts that were made of what each individual blue zone
Zones.
group eats, and universally for all of them, some kind of plant-based food was number one.
Dominated it.
Sorry?
Dominated.
Yes. So, of course, I mentioned the sweet potatoes, but in the Icarians, it was green vegetables. Sorry, number one was quote unquote other vegetables, probably like eggplant and potatoes and that sort of thing. And number two was green vegetables. And we'll talk about more in part two, but we've definitely noticed.
Yeah.
And I think we've eaten more vegetables than we have in a long time being here because there's just so much availability and it's flavored so well. Also,
we will give some ideas about recipes and
yeah, absolutely, because we've learned some recipes being here, and we would love to share that with you as well. But there's vegetables, there's fruits, especially the Loma Linda Seventh-day Adventists. Their biggest what they eat is actually fruit more than anything else. So don't forget fruit. And then my favorite food group, legumes, are also very high up. At least 20% in every single group universally. So the world's perfect piece of food, the legume, my favorite. Now, yes, most of the, if not all of these cultures do eat meat, but
Loma Linda people don't eat meat.
They don't eat meat at all. Oh, see, I learned something. So, except for the Loma Linda people, very rarely, on average, only about 5 times a month or less, and the serving sizes are about the size of your fist, or smaller. They're not sitting down and eating a giant hamburger or having fried chicken. They're having something very small. A lot of times, it might even be used just for flavoring in a soup in Costa Rica, for example.
Yeah. And we'll give you examples of what we discussed with some of the Greeks here.
The people that
the people that we met here about how much meat did they consume, and you'd be shocked at the numbers. But we'll talk about that in part 2.
Tip number 6: to live till you're 100. What is that, Ajoy?
Yeah. Tip number 6 is it's kind of strange. I guess they do this, but I don't know how much. You need to adhere to it, which is alcohol. Very, very moderate amount or minute amount of alcohol drinking actually increases your lifespan, especially red wine. Red wine has a compound called resveratrol, that actually helps your heart pump better and your brain. Not brain pump better, but helps your brain
work more efficiently.
More efficiently. And that being said, it's not essential, but I think a little bit of alcohol.
Because the Loma Linda people don't drink at all,
right?
So it's not essential.
Exactly. It's not essential, but some of the other older zones, I find Loma Linda to be a little bit of an exception because they are not like a 1,000-year-old civilization, but all the other ones are greater than 1,000-year-old civilizations where they've been doing this for a while. But they drink alcohol, and I think it kind of helps them relax and take things easy, which is going to socialize, which brings us to the next topic, next point actually.
Yeah. So the 7th tip is basically belonging or being in some kind of community. It doesn't necessarily have to be believing in a higher power or faith-based, but a lot of these blue zones do actually belong to a certain religion. So in Icaria, they're Greek Orthodox Christians. In Okinawa, they're Buddhists.
And Shinto.
And Shinto, sorry. And then, of course, in Loma Linda, they're the Seventh-day Adventist Christians.
Costa Rica,
I would imagine, are also Christians, although they don't specifically talk as much about their faith, it's more the community and just
Yeah.
getting together with family. I know, and we'll talk about this in part 2, but when we visited Costa Rica, there's a huge sense of community and family,
Yeah.
which we noticed everywhere we went.
And in Costa Rica, if I may recall, because Christianity came only with the Europeans arriving,
Yeah.
they still practice their native cultures in like a hybrid way of
Right.
Christianity, which is prominent in Africa, etc.
Yeah,
Right.
and then the Sardinians would also be Christians. as
Right,
well.
right. And
So research has showed that attending some kind of service, whether it's faith-based or not, at least 4 times a month will add 4 to 14 years of
Yeah.
life expectancy. So
Which
that's
is
huge.
which is amazing.
So even if you don't even have religion, or you don't believe in a higher being or something, just attending some kind of community, I don't want to say repetitive, something that reoccurs.
Can I mention a study here?
Of course, you can mention a study.
Thank you. So,
Otherwise, how would this podcast even exist?
so,
without your study.
sorry. So there was this may come as a kind of a little bit of a surprise that scientists or medical scientists are talking about religion. But there were 2 studies conducted, one in Germany, one in, I believe, in US itself, where they talk about why is it that religion can help with the longevity. And what they discovered was what happens when you are religious is you tend to let go faster. You tend to let go of your anger faster. You tend to let go of things you cannot control faster. You let go of things that don't matter faster. So when you let go of these things, your stress hormones drop down faster. So your cortisol levels and all come down faster. So both these studies kind of pointed in the same direction, and that is to say that a lot of the stress hormones are brought on faster. Therefore, your body cells can repair faster and heal themselves faster. So I just wanted to mention that. Sorry.
Thank you for that. Well, you might as well keep talking because we're now moving on to number 8.
Yeah. Okay. So number 8 is actually one of my favorites, and that is
Something that happens in India already.
Yeah, in India definitely it happens all the time because family comes number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and so on. Family is absolutely important to as everybody that is listening, or most everybody that's listening to our podcast can relate to. And what ends up happening is you get a sense of belonging. You know, even with your children, what ends up happening is they look up to you as you provide for them. And in addition, you get a sense of satisfaction to see, like, for example, with children, you see them growing up and you see them prosper. You get a sense of satisfaction, and that actually also, same thing, reduces your cortisol level and drops your stress hormones, etc.
And don't forget about the parents and grandparents. If they are living with you, you continue to learn from them and be inspired by them.
Yes,
right?
And unfortunately, some of the things that used to happen, say, for example, in joint families in India, is being lost rapidly to these micro family units where, like, families are like reduced to 3 or 1.5 sometimes, unfortunately. So,
and sorry, pediatrician has to add in that research has shown.
You're talking about research.
That when children live with multi-generational families, it actually reduces the incidence of disease and lowers their mortality as well. So correct. It really does promote good health in everyone. And
some things are passed on by skipping a generation. So grandparents teach grandkids things that they may not have taught their own siblings.
Yeah.
And kids see the wisdom in their grandparents and learn from that. And when they grow old, they do this. They tend to do the same thing, which is great. What's the next one?
Finally, the last one is making sure. It's kind of, I guess, it kind of ties it back into the community, the faith-based or non-faith-based but common interests. Is having your own tribe or having your own social circle.
Set of people. Yeah, set of people, I said.
Set of people, right. So a group outside of your family that you hang around with that has common interests, common healthy behaviors
that you can go to and talk to about anything.
that you can confide in, that you spend time with, whether it's over a bottle of wine, a cup of coffee, or over a board game. I know Ajoy mentioned the Icarians that stay up until 2 a.m. drinking coffee and playing dominoes. And we've actually seen a lot of dominoes for sale here in Athens. So this reduces, of course, loneliness because you're hanging out with people that have like interests. And studies show that happiness is actually contagious. So if you're not having a good day, but you later that evening are going to go meet your friends, if they're in a good mood, which hopefully at least one of them is, then that contagious happiness will spread to everyone.
Yeah, strangely enough, sadness does not spread like that, right?
Yeah, it's happiness, they said. So it's really interesting. So all these people in all 5 blue zones, all of them have some kind of social circle that they continuously meet with. And that has been shown in multiple studies, of course, to prolong happy and healthy life, not just life in general.
I think we've spent a lot of time kind of defining what, what's the structure of these blue zones and what really makes them tick. I think we should stop in part 1, and in part 2, we'll kind of give you our own real life examples in the last just a few days that we've seen, right? So those I find very exciting to talk about. I think it'll be a fun discussion in the next episode. So actually, I'm looking forward to talking about those next, because this was a little bit more of an introduction to blue zones, and we'll of course bring each one of these topics back to life periodically to kind of remind the listener about certain things we recommend that you do in your lives. And we are also, it's a work in progress for us, because there are so many things that we listed here we are not very good at right now. We're trying.
Strive for all of us.
Yeah. So thank you so much, and
we'll see part 2.
Yep. Bye-bye.
We really hope you enjoyed our conversation. Can you think about one thing or an idea that you can start to introduce into your own life that will help make your life healthier and less stressful?
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you can take a few seconds to share the podcast with your friends and family. Thank you so much for listening.
And always remember, your health is literally in your own hands. Making lifestyle changes is not an easy task, but we promise you will be aptly rewarded with a long, healthy, and disease-free life.